Hello, hello, everyone. Hope you are having a fabulous day. Welcome to our True Health webinar. Tonight, we have the amazing Keri Stewart. This lady has 5 kids and 2 grandkids. Can you believe it? You would never even know. And so she is going to share about how Kangen water has changed her life, her family's life, and some other experiences with those who she shared the water with too. But if you don't know the main properties of the water, we do encourage you to watch the demo video that's at the top of this group. It's really going to go through and break down the different properties. You're going to understand why your water is killing you and why this water is so life-changing. So definitely take a minute to check that out. But thank you, Keri, so much for joining us tonight.
Sure, it's good to be here. It's been a while.
So you've been drinking the water. How long have you guys been drinking the water?
A couple of years, probably.
A couple of years now? Okay.
Yeah, it's gone by really quickly. So, yep. And you introduced me to that, talking about some crazy water. Didn't know what you were talking about way back. But yeah, I'm really glad I tried it because it's I wouldn't go anywhere without it. As you know, I've traveled recently and was like, I need to bring it with. How do I bring it with? And so I absolutely wouldn't be without it. It's been amazing.
It is addictive. We do warn people, once you start drinking it, you can't go back to dead water. Like your body physically doesn't want it. And I do remember, Keri, when I was giving you the water and you were drinking it, can you explain a little bit how you felt on it and off it?
Yeah, so I had some health issues leading up to that when I first tried it and really felt just terrible every day and started getting the water from you. I would bring home 5-7 gallons of water with me.
She's a very good friend.
Yeah.
I was giving a lot of water.
Yeah, and this was a while back, but you were down the street and you knew it was just health stuff. And so I was drinking that for a while. And when I remember the day so previously I'd been drinking bottled water, Poland Spring. It was fine for me at the time, I thought, and I remember the day that I ran out of the water you had given me and went back to some Poland Spring that I had on my shelf. And with the first bottle I drank, I felt a massive difference because the water that you gave me, the Kangen water, had been fueling my cells, had been giving me energy, like literally electrical energy. It had been bringing up my pH. It had been detoxing me. It was so good for me. And I knew I felt better, but I didn't realize how much better I felt until I drank a bottle of something that was dead, had no electrical activity, was very acidic. And within that first small bottle of Poland Spring, and not to criticize any particular brand, it's just not living water. It's just what it is. I felt awful. I felt so sick. I felt drained. My brain fog came back. And I remember telling you right then, and I told my husband too, I was like, that's it. I need this. I only know the half of how this works, but I know enough to say that this is absolutely life-giving and I don't ever want to be without it again. And that's when we made the decision to incorporate this in our lives and have our kids have it. And so, yeah, it was that important. And I really, really felt it, for sure. I could tell the difference. So yeah, it was a pretty big deal. It's amazing you don't realize how poorly you feel, and because it happens gradually, and you don't always realize when you're getting better and it's happening gradually until you suddenly are pulled back to the way you used to be. So
I think that's an excellent point, because everybody has different reactions drinking it. Some people have massive transformations in hours or days. Other people, it's kind of this slow, steady progression, and their symptoms are kind of slowly disappearing and they're not really paying attention. And then when they go off the water and all those symptoms come back, they're like, holy cow, I didn't realize how far my body had come, because I was giving it the tools that it needed to heal and to become healthier. And I know even for us, I went on one trip. So we have the machine here in the house. I have 4 kids. They did not want me to take it. So I took like a couple of gallons, but it didn't last me all that long because I drink a lot of water. And I felt like the energy was being drained out of my body. Or like before you get sick and you feel like your energy drop, that's the only way that I can explain it, is all that electrical current, all that was like gone. Like my vibration, whatever you want to call it, went from like here to like, whoa. And I was like, oh my gosh, in the future, I will always make sure that I have enough water, or I have a machine. Now we got the travel machine, so I don't have to take the machine from the kids, and we've given that to you to travel as well too, because once you go Kangen, you can never go back. Like it's so, so true. Like your body knows the difference, and your body, when you start drinking it, your body just craves it. We have people who say that they don't like to drink water. They hate water. It makes them feel yucky, nauseous, bloated. It's just, they don't like to drink it. They start drinking our water and they can't get enough. It's hilarious how many husbands are really skeptical about this. And then they start drinking it, and the wife is like, they keep like asking me to fill up their bottle because like they can't get enough of it. But their body knows, and their body wants more. So tell us like what it's done for you and your family and all of this since you've been drinking it over these last few years.
I mean, so for me personally, obviously, it's really, really helped improve my health. I had a major hormonal imbalances going on. I didn't know. We had, treated that. Um, but it was a slow, slow go, and the water really pushed me over, into a better health at that time. It helped me, I was feeding my body the right things, but the water just helped me absorb them and get what I needed properly. So it's helped my health a ton. I mean, now it's night and day. I can tell if I am just ignoring my body or something, because normally I feel well, and that's a night and day difference from a couple of years ago. So, and my kids, I remember my husband and I both talking about how it had improved their moods. They were just moodier, and we didn't know why. And, and it always has to do with what your body's getting, whether it's getting what it needs or not. And that's made a really big difference. And interestingly, how different people are more in tune with how they feel. And one of my daughters, she when we have to go out, if we don't have our water with us and we go out to eat or something, and we'll get a bottled water to drink something. And while I don't like it, most of the family's like, well, whatever, she is so in tune that she hates drinking any other water. She says, my belly doesn't feel good. It feels like it just sits there a long time. It's really heavy. I don't like how I feel. And she notices, and all she wants is her Kangen water. And so we always bring it with us everywhere we go. But in the rare occasions that we don't have it, she hates drinking anything else. And so it's great. And she is 10 years old, and she notices this stuff. So it's helped them. I mean, and my kids have been educated on this, just in drinking it and me talking about it. They understand a lot more about what it does, why it matters, what you put in your body. It's been really great. And then of course we use it in a lot of other ways. We use it in our laundry. It, removes dirt and oil stains. We get these oil stains on our shirts that we don't always know where they come from. And I think it has to do with my washing machine. And so when they come out like this, we'll apply our 11.5, which is different water from the machine, but rewash it, comes right out. And the list is endless of the ways that you can use it. There's so many different things, but just for our family in particular and their health, it's been really great, really important. And I wouldn't want to not have it for my kids. That's
right. Well, that's just it. Our kids are blessed that now they get to grow up getting water the way water was meant to be. I mean, that's all this is. It's just, this exists in remote parts of the world. It just doesn't exist anymore in the rest of the world. And so that's what they've recreated, is water the way it's meant to be. And like what Keri's saying is, we pay a lot of money for our good nutrition. A lot of you pay good money for supplements, like high quality supplements, and you're absorbing maybe 5, 10, maybe 15%, like literally, because it takes water to get into the cells. But our water, our modern day water, it's all clumped together. It's too big. and it
Yep.
can't get into the cell very well, where our water is so structurally tiny that it just takes those nutrients right in. And you feel the difference too, because you're suddenly getting the nutrition that your body needs. So now the body is up to a new level in its ability to heal itself. And Keri hit on another point of mood. So this is hydrogen rich water. Hydrogen is the healing property of the water. And hydrogen has been shown to have all kinds of amazing effects on the brain. There's Dr. Corinne Allen. She has an amazing video in this group. She has treated thousands and thousands of people with brain injuries, autistic, all kinds of stuff with our water. The transformations will bring you to tears. But we have to remember the brain is like 75, 80% water. If it's dehydrated, it constricts, you get headaches. Your mood is going to be affected. The brain controls all your body functions. Like the brain has to be hydrated, but hydrogen helps the brain to produce dopamine and serotonin. Those are the happy hormones and the well-balanced hormones, as well as melatonin to sleep and all of this. And when you have those good hormones, you're going to be happier. So we've had a lot of people come out of depressions. You know, again, we're not making claims and cures. Everybody's body reacts differently, but we have seen, you know, amazing, yes, amazing things happen. And Keri's family is a testimony of that right there.
Yeah. Yeah, there are so many testimonies. I mean, you don't have to go far to find them, just of every kind of issue under the sun, because people have all these illnesses they're just living with. They just think that's normal.
Right.
They're told this is just a consequence of aging, and it's not.
Right.
It's a consequence of your body malfunctioning and not
Yes.
getting what it needs. And as soon as you start giving it what it needs and remove what it doesn't, it's amazing. All these things disappear. And
Right.
you know, it just seems magical to people, but it's really just so fundamental. And
right. It's the way the body should be. I mean, you think of the hundreds of people of Pakistan. They live to like 120, 140. They're having kids. The women are having children at like 60 years old. The men are fathering children at 100. They're like 80 and they look like they're 40. Like, this is what life was meant to be. We weren't meant to look old when we were, you know, when we're 40 and 50 and be all decrepit and on 20 different medications. You know, this is American society. And, you know, what we find is a lot of chronic illnesses are just dehydration, and normal water doesn't hydrate very well. And most people don't even drink much water because they don't like how it makes them feel.
Right.
So it's just this awful cycle. So they start drinking our water, they start craving it, their body gets hydrated, they're getting their nutrients, they're flushing out toxins. Of course, the body's going to start to heal. I mean, it just makes sense. So, and there's literally like over 100 different uses for all the different waters. People forget it's not just for drinking. We have an amazing cleaning water, like she's talking about doing her laundry. That's the water you can soak the fruits and vegetables in and get the pesticides off. We've gotten horrific stains. We had the worst cranberry stain on our carpet. Nothing could get it out. And then I was like, oh yeah, I can use the 11.5 high pH water. Took it right out. I mean, it was amazing. And then one water that's been really, really helpful lately is our 2.5 disinfectant water. I think there for a time you were giving that out like crazy because people didn't have it during the pandemic. There was no sanitizers.
Right. Everyone was so worried about viruses, bacteria, all of it. And, you know, everyone was selling out of all of the hand sanitizers, which we don't use. I don't use any hand sanitizers. I don't use chemicals in my house because I've detoxed. Why would I put it back onto my body and my clothing? And so yes, we use the 2.5 as a disinfectant. And I had everyone around me, you know, friends and such, going, "Can you get this? So where did you find? Is this in stock?" And buying, you know, alcohol to make their own. And I would say to people, you don't need that. And this alcohol is going to strip this protective layer off of your skin, which then makes you vulnerable to all of these things you're trying to prevent. And you're introducing toxic things, you know, but people just didn't know. So I started giving out this 2.5 water from my machine in my kitchen. I'm like, what do you need? Tell me when you need. I'll give you more. I have an unlimited supply over here for free, you know, essentially. And so I gave it to friends, and they, you know, they were perplexed. What do you mean it's water? How does it? So I'd have to explain what this is. This has been around a very, very long time. This is, you know, not new to science, but here it is, killing everything. I mean, MRSA, nothing kills MRSA. And here this water is used in the Japanese hospitals. The doctors wash their hands with it before surgery. This is bacteria control, virus control, microbes, all of it. So yeah, so that was really interesting to see people's reaction, that I'm handing out this water during this time when people are afraid and they're, and it was really cool. It was cool to hear too that people were using it, and I had some that I'd bring to work with me and whatnot.
We have unlimited amounts, so people are running out, and I'm telling you, during this whole pandemic, we have not been worried 1 ounce.
Yeah.
Because I have not heard, I mean, there are millions of people around the world drinking this water. I've not heard of one person drinking this water who's got COVID. Okay. I have to be careful saying that because I don't have like scientific proof, but of all the people, I have like thousands of friends on Facebook that are drinking this water, no one. And because alkalinity, all this stuff impacts the body, you're creating higher health levels. So then the body can overcome. So again, I got to be careful in what I'm saying, but this 2.5, I'm like, if it's good enough to disinfect a Japanese hospital, it's good enough to disinfect my house. And I mean, I just kept it. I have a little spray bottle. I keep it in my purse. I spray my hands. I come out of the grocery store or anywhere. And, I spray the kids' hands down. And here's the deal. It's hypochlorous acid. So people don't understand, when you get sick, the body makes hypochlorous acid to kill the bad germs, but it doesn't kill the good germs. It can distinguish. Right. So we spray it on our hands and it will kill the bad bacteria without killing the good bacteria. You can even gargle with it. Mm-hmm. So, people are worried about getting sick. Well, the virus is going to cultivate in the throat.
Right.
So if you start to get a sore throat, you start feeling symptoms, gargle with it. It will knock it right out. And if you swallow it, we're not drinking it, but if you swallow it, it's not going to hurt you because your body naturally makes it. And so it's stronger than bleach, and yet you could drink it. Yeah. So you can't get more natural than that.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. It's been really terrific for that reason.
So are there other ways that you use the water? I know there's another water, the beauty water. We use that to water our plants. My house looks like a jungle right now. I don't know. Have you used it on your plants before?
Yeah, I've been using it on my plants. Early on, I didn't realize which water to use, and I was using all of them and whatnot. But yeah, we use the beauty water, and I don't have a green thumb. I used to say that my house is where plants come to die. It was
mine too.
So now they're doing much better as long as I don't ignore them. So yeah, it's amazing what it'll do for plants. We give it to our pets. I mean, I don't use, a fraction of what I could. There are so many ways that I'm just constantly trying to, like you said, you forget and you go, oh yeah, I have a water for that. And you start incorporating it.
It's endless. I mean, it really is. We have a sheet with like 100 different uses, it kind of takes time to remember, oh yeah, I can use this water instead of that. And it's just such a huge blessing. You don't have to worry about running out of Windex and, any of that stuff, because it's just right out of the machine. So Keri, we were going to talk a little bit about some of the results that some of the people that you've shared the water with have had. Would you like to talk about any of that?
Yeah, let me hit a light because I realize I'm getting dark.
Oh, sure. The sun is going down.
I know. I had a good window seat here. It's a little bit better. So a few friends that I've shared this with, we've seen, what's super, super common, and one of the first things that you tend to see is gastrointestinal issues. Like, I can't tell you how many times I hear people say, wow, that just cleared up. All these issues just cleared up. And so when I hear people talk about that, I just want to drink the water, take the water, it's just it's so fast for so many people. Yeah. But yes, so one friend, she had been on a medication for some like acid reflux is what it was for. So she was taking it daily. That was just a normal thing for her. And as soon as she started the water, that disappeared and she stopped her medication. And she was just so pleasantly surprised. And I was like, yeah, I knew, I was excited, but I kind of expected it, but I'm still so excited for it because it's so fun to watch this stuff happen. People get freed from things. So, That's a big one. And
Yeah, acid reflux is a huge one, and so many Americans have it. Like, I've been shocked how many people suffer. And I had it a little bit years ago when I was pregnant, and my gosh, it is horrific. Like, you don't wish that on anyone. I
yeah.
mean, the pain and the burning and all of that. And for people, we've seen over and over again, people get relief within like a day or two. I mean, it's um,
Yeah.
that's why we feel like we have to share. I mean, we've seen so many lives transform. How can we not share about this? So then you had another friend who had cancer, correct?
Yeah, so that was a pretty amazing story. Somebody is a friend of a friend, so I knew of his story a bit beforehand, and kept saying he needs the water. He just needs the water, you know. And he was, of course, working with his doctors and everything. And but when I met him, he this was his second go around of this kind of cancer, and he looked very discouraged. He kind of had the impression that this was his last shot, from what I understood, to get this knocked out. So so he was scheduled within, I want to say within a week. It was within days that he was supposed to um, be checked into the hospital and stay there for a month, and they were to wipe out his immune system, and he was going to be isolated for that month. And he was really, really struggling with that idea. You know, who wants to go through that? And so, but he was really excited about this water. He's a very smart guy. I gave him, you know, everything I understood about it. I gave him the science and said, here's how this works. And I was like, I can't, you know, all I can do is give this to you, and just, and you do what you want with it. And he was so excited, and he drank it, and he was like, well, I'll start it. And the amazing thing was standing there with him as he just chugged a bunch of it, because I brought him a whole bunch. I was like, you just need this. And it wasn't, I mean, probably 2 minutes. And he turns around and he says, I can feel this right now hitting me. It was so amazing. It was so cool. Like, I'm not kidding. And he was just, matter of fact, it's what it was. And it was really cool. And so, but within however long it was when he was supposed to be enter into the hospital, he said his doctors tested him one more time, and they said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. This was just days that he'd been on this water. And they said, we're not going to put you in the hospital. We're not going to do this thing. We're not going to have you here for a month. We're going to watch and see what happens. And we were just so excited, because within days it had changed his health enough that the doctors could see it, and he was turning in a better direction. And that was just huge, because, you know, our body goes through so much when we have something like cancer, and the treatment and the disease and all of it is just so devastating. And to have one little thing, drinking some water, turn him around that quickly was just incredible. And so I continued that for, I think it was several months. And because he was a friend, and I just wanted to see him get better. And he continued with his doctor and all of that. But also continued on the water. And we didn't let him run out, you know, we tried to keep it in stock for him. And it was pretty incredible. It was a road, but by the end, he said, now, he said, normally when the doctor clears you of this kind of cancer, they measure the levels in your blood, and the best case scenario was point something, you know, that was the minimum amount of whatever they're measuring, you know, the levels of this type of cancer in the blood. And it had gone to 0.
Wow.
Unheard of. And
wow.
So it was just amazing to watch, to be a part of, and see his transformation, and see, you know, and he and I knew absolutely, you know, knowing what we know about the water, that this was huge in supporting his body, you know, especially knowing the bombardment of the treatment and how hard that is on you. And it just absolutely supported him and allowed his body to heal, which was just so cool. I mean,
it's amazing. I mean, we have people, I mean, we know we have to be careful about making claims and cures. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's body responds differently. But again, when you give the body what it needs, it can take that and begin to heal itself. And, you know, you think about 2 days he drank this water. And I remember Keri calling me, and she said the doctors did the test on him and all his numbers had changed. And they said, we don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it.
Mhm.
After 2 days, and then they took him out of that lockdown, a month of isolation. Like, think how mentally devastating that is. A month of isolation. That's how sick he was. And then 3 months later, no sign, zero, the number zero coming up. I mean, we personally have friends that are alive now because of this water, and we can't promise it's going to cure everybody. It will help, but we can't make any promises. But that's why we're on a mission where we feel like we have to share about this. It's people's personal decision, but I've literally had people who they wanted it and they procrastinated, and during that year they developed cancer, and they said, oh, why did I procrastinate? We don't know what our futures hold, and it's a lot easier to prevent than to cure. And that's why our water is endorsed by the Japanese Association of Preventative Medicine for Adult Diseases, because this is the best prevention. The American Anti-Cancer Institute endorses Kangen water as the #1 treatment and prevention for cancer. #1.
Yeah.
Because we are water. You think we're 75% water. So that's where we have to start in our health. So Keri's stories are, I hope, really powerful to you, in that, these are just normal people, normal stories, a lot of normal situations. So many people with cancer, unfortunately, acid reflux, moody, depressed, hormonal issues. I mean, this is the state of America, and that just by changing their water, they changed their life. I mean, how simpler could it be?
Right. I know, it's amazing. We complicate it. We complicate it so much. And if we just learned just a little bit about how this works, we'd just be amazed. And it's a no-brainer,
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you start, you start drinking it, you'll never want to go without it. I mean, I tell people, if you buy this machine and in 2 weeks it hasn't changed your life, send it back.
Right.
No one has ever sent it back. I mean, you drink it, you feel the difference. You don't want to ever be without it. Yeah. So change your water, change your life. So Keri, I really appreciate you being on tonight and for all that you shared. This was really, really awesome. Guys, reach out to the person that invited you to this group. Find out more about this water, how to get this water in your home. The medical device just connects to your faucet. Like we said, you can disconnect it, throw it in your suitcase, take it with you, hook it up in the hotel bathroom to that faucet. If there's a faucet, we can make it work.
Yeah.
But it's worth the investment. We have payment options of even $1 to $2 a day. I mean, you're probably already paying $1 to $2 a day for one bottle of water or a cup of coffee.
Right.
That's, hurting you versus something that could change your life. Plus, we have a referral program where you can get the machine for free. So listen, you can't beat free. These machines last 25 some years. How old are you going to be in 25 years? This investment you will never regret. It will pay you back 1,000,000 times over. So thank you again, Keri, for all that you shared. Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks.
So be blessed, everybody. We'll see you here in another week or so. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.